Lore Together is proud to be part of the Boss Rush Games Network. Feel free to find out more at bossrushgames.com/network. Hi, I'm Safi.
And I'm Mystic.
And this is Lore Together. This is the podcast where a husband and wife team go over all these storytelling, world building, characters of video games, because it's what we like to do together. We lore together.
Yep, and this is episode 105.
Hey, welcome to episode 105, everybody.
Yep. And before we get to the episode, there's a few things we have to take care of.
Oh, yes,
First off, if you'd like to contact us, you can do that in many different ways. Instagram, Mastodon, Reddit, YouTube, Steam, Discord, all in the description down below. Or you can contact us via email at loretogether@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support the podcast, and we hope you do, there's two different ways you can do that. First is 5 stars, thumbs up, likes, whatever it is, wherever you're listening, we appreciate it. And if you'd like to support the podcast, you can do that over on Patreon at patreon.com/loretogether. Where you can pay a per episode pledge to get early access to episodes, early access to our Let's Plays, which are coming back now that we figured out our recording issues.
Yes.
As well as access to our mini episodes and Q&As. No one's asked us a Q&A in a while. Ask us some questions.
Hey, Q&A, especially since we have a new patron that we're supposed to be celebrating.
Yes. Thanks for joining us, Arcane Flame.
Hey, Arcane Flames. Thanks so much. We appreciate your support, and we cannot wait to give you a lot of delicious goodies throughout the coming days. So
also, patrons at the Archivist tier get the ability to vote on our Let's Play that was currently going on with
Mass Effect
Lorena Shepherd.
Yes. So please let us know how awesome our Lorena Shepherd needs to be. But with that, I think it's time for us to start talking about the main event.
Yes.
And I don't know what it is. All I know is you said we were going back to a previous
franchise. We are
franchise.
going very far back. We last touched on this franchise back in episode 26. Way back in January of 2021.
That feels like an eon ago. Jeez, it's the time has gone by so fast.
How can I couch this? You did not enjoy this stream when we did this game.
Was this Deus Ex Machina?
It's not Machina, but Deus Ex.
Deus Ex. Sorry, I always add the Machina. So
we'll be covering the 2011 game by Eidos. Actually, I don't think it was by Eidos directly. I can't remember who developed it, but it used to be Eidos, and now it's been reshuffled and merged and acquisitions and closing of different groups and stuff. It's over at Plaion, Plaion, which is part of Swedish publisher / holding company Embracer Group.
Wow, that's a really promising description of who's holding this game now.
Embracer Group used to be called THQ Nordic Holdings, so they were a merger of THQ and someone else. I can't remember.
Anytime there's anything that says like holdings or acquisitions, I am very, very concerned. But I could be wrong. It's just not. It just feels ominous.
Yeah. They basically have a ton of developers, and some of those developers have subsidiaries. For instance, I believe Plaion has a couple developers under it, including one that we'll cover eventually, Warhorse Gaming, which did Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Oh.
So we'll get to that one eventually.
Which is one we want to cover, even though it's super intense, and oh my god, I don't think I'd ever want to play it because it was so sad.
Yeah. So anyway, back in 2021, in episode 26, we covered the creation of human augmentation within the universe that Deus Ex is set.
Yes.
And the fact that augs require anti-rejection drugs.
Mm-hmm.
This time we'll dig into the first game of the chronology, Deus Ex Human Revolution. And this is going to be a lot. There's a lot of jumps and points on this web of stories, so buckle up and prepare for tons of names and nouns.
I am not ready.
I have removed as many as I can.
This is unfair. I will fail the test. I will fail the test so fast.
We begin the game in the office of a guy in a suit. I already removed one noun for you. Are you happy? Guy in suit.
Guy in
Basically,
suit.
if they didn't matter past
a certain point,
a paragraph or two, I just changed their name. We begin the game in the office of a guy in a suit as he participates in a meeting with fellow members of the Illuminati on a big screen.
Oh, my God.
They talk back and forth, and much of what they discuss foreshadows events that will occur later in the story. That's one of those things.
One of those things. Kind of like when we saw the Elusive Man in Mass Effect 2,
Yeah.
which I think I kind of stole that from this, or not really. It's a common scene.
This is 2011. That was maybe. Yeah, it
was around the same time.
It's a common look, though. Like it's a trope you've seen.
Yeah.
It's also been used in James Bond. Like
that's true. It's happened. It's
Yeah.
been a lot of scenes. Yeah.
In a private conversation, like the conversation with the Illuminati wasn't private enough. So like we're one level above the private conversation with the Illuminati with another private person who is completely shadowed out.
Oh, wow.
Our guy in the suit talks about research done by Megan Reed, but claims that she is, quote, out of our reach. However, the mystery person on the screen questions, is she?
Dun, dun, dun.
As part of her research for the biotechnology company Seraph Industries, Megan Reed discovered a way for humans to receive augmentations without suffering from the rejection syndrome known as Darrow deficiency syndrome, removing the need for the anti-rejection drug neuropazine.
Okay, that's all right. So the pharmaceutical company is now shivering in its boots.
Reed and her team are scheduled to present their research to the National Science Board in Washington, D.C. Meanwhile, Seraph Industries Chief of Security, Adam Jensen, our player character,
Yes.
is finalizing security details for the team when he is requested to visit his boss, that would be David Seraph, for one last briefing on the security plans. On the way to the office, Jensen strikes up a terse conversation with his colleague, Francis Pritchard, who is in charge of their cybersecurity division. He's a bit of a stuck-up who doesn't think much of Jensen, saying that Megan's teams are all wired with GPL locators if Jensen's security measures aren't up to snuff. During the briefing with the boss, an environmental malfunction occurs in a subsection of the laboratories, and Jensen is instructed to investigate the cause. There's a lot of Jensen is told to blog this.
Yeah, that makes sense. He starts out as a man who's working for the man. That's kind of how it's going to be.
Yeah, and it doesn't really change.
Right.
Spoiling a little bit here, but one of the common criticisms of this game is, as much as you have thousands of choices, we'll cover why, like how many choices later, but as much as you have a ton of choices on how to do everything,
yeah,
your character never changes.
Right.
As much information as you dig up on people, you'll still work with them. Like, there's never any pushback. There's never any real...
The consequences are not on the character.
Right.
That's what that sounds like. Yeah.
Which
the consequences are on the world.
Kind of makes him seem...
one-dimensional, I would think.
A little one-dimensional.
Okay.
Once in the labs, it becomes clear that this is a break-in by a paramilitary group known as the Tyrants. The Tyrants kill any scientist they come across, and when Jensen finally locates Megan, he is intercepted by one of the Tyrants' members, Jerome Nemir, who shoots Jensen in the head. The Tyrants then set the Seraph labs on fire. Due to the fact that the remains of the scientists have been burned so badly, it's not possible to verify their identities, and thus it is presumed that they have all died in the attack. Now, the bullet didn't immediately kill Jensen. Would have been a pretty short game if it did. And
that was the first time I died. There's a game that starts just like that. This was the first time I died.
To save his life, he is augmented extensively. These augmentations are funded by his boss, who, it turns out, did not ask nor even need to consult Jensen about the augmentations due to an agreement in his contract.
Feels very RoboCop-esque, too, as well.
While he is out cold getting his upgrades, we have the events of the mobile game Deus Ex The Fall, which we'll be mostly skipping over because, well, it deals with a compelling story of a pair of Augs who uncover a clandestine, dangerous population test by a shady drug company called Bell Tower Associates.
Wait, I want to know this story. Wait, you just teased out something that's amazing here.
I know. And the Tyrants also make an appearance as the main baddies.
Whoa.
And that's it. That's all we get. The story ends on a cliffhanger after one mission.
Why? Why would you do that? Oh my God. I'm so mad. Okay.
Anyway, after 6 months in recovery, Adam Jensen is basically ordered to return to work. He is informed that yet another attack on Seraph Industries has taken place, this time a break-in of the Seraph manufacturing plant in Milwaukee Junction, I think it was.
Okay.
The manufacturing plant has been stormed by a group of anti-augmentation extremists known as Purity First.
Oh, that's not a good title. I don't like that. I don't like that name. I don't like that name at all.
Seraph informs Jensen that a secret military augmentation has just been scheduled for production at the manufacturing plant known as the Typhoon Explosive System. He says that it's crucial to secure the plans for it before the extremists do. A secondary objective is for Jensen to rescue a number of Seraph employees who are being held hostage at the plant, but the priority is the Typhoon.
The priority being the Typhoon just sounds like a weather conspiracy theory.
Such is the priority that Jensen finds a SWAT team ready to go in.
What?
But Seraph won't let them in until the Typhoon is secure.
Thanks, Seraph. Jeez.
Which gets a lot of understandable backlash from SWAT.
Of course it does.
Jensen eventually makes his way to where the Typhoon is, only to find a surprise. An augmented Purity First member named Una.
Okay.
Who is trying to steal the blueprints.
All right.
Upon realizing he's been found, the attacker shoots himself in the head, all while pleading for help.
Oh,
as if this is against his will.
Now, suddenly I'm getting flashbacks to, we've mentioned this before, Locked In.
Yes.
I'm getting flashbacks to that book.
While I was writing the script, I kept thinking, why does this sound so familiar? Right, okay.
It's that book, which Mystic is the reason I read that book. He was listening to the audiobook, and he's like, this is actually really good. I think you might actually like this. This is actually really cool. There's this scene. And I said, okay, fine. I'm going to get it on Libby, and I'm going to actually read it. And I did. It's actually a really easy read. It was really fun, and it has some really interesting thought processes on the characters there. So, anyway, It's a good story, and there's some parallels into how things seem to be operating here.
Now, him being an AUG is pretty interesting for an anti-augmentation group.
Yes.
In order to get an explanation for this augmented hacker, Jensen confronts the Purity First leader, one Zeke Sanders. He denies any knowledge about the augmented hacker, leading Jensen to believe that Purity First is being manipulated by a third party. And returns to HQ and brings the Typhoon to Pritchard for him to examine. However, Pritchard's too busy to inspect the prototype right away as he's running a diagnostic sweep on Seraph's network to find out how Purity First managed to breach it.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Eventually, Adam learns that the corpse of Una is being held at the Detroit police station. However, police are denying that he was augmented and are refusing Seraph permission to view the body.
What?
Suspecting a cover-up and betting that securing Una's neural hub will give them information on the people who attacked the company, Seraph sends Jensen to the police station's morgue to steal the neural hub.
Is this more of like a stealthy mission, or is this more like we're just going to shoot through and take the body?
It is a stealthy mission.
Okay. This is part of the reason why it was bad when we did the live stream the first time.
We did not play this game. We played the second one, Mankind Divided, I believe.
Was it? No, I thought it was. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. But same problem persisted. You do not stealth.
I don't stealth really well at all. That was the same thing with like Dishonored. Wasn't really that stealthy. It's not a game genre for me. I'll watch other people do it, but...
Working through to the morgue, Jensen talks to the coroner who just happened to be performing the autopsy on Una. The coroner, mistaking Jensen as a person sent by Homeland Security, which is a heck of a assumption.
Whoa, yeah.
Informs him that the hub has been modified, but that it's possible it was damaged when Una shot himself. He assures Jensen that he did not look at the contents in the neural hub since Homeland Security issued a ultraviolet security classification on the case.
Ultraviolet? Oh my.
Evidence found in the police station reveals that both the manufacturing plant incident and the Seraph Industries HQ attack had crucial pieces of evidence covered up by the government or people within the government.
Oh man, we have a government conspiracy now?
And the Illuminati?
And the Illuminati? Man, where's the lizard people? I'm ready for them.
Eventually, Pritchard examines the hub and discovers that it effectively turned Una into a human proxy, as we said.
Yes.
Meaning another person was remotely
I don't think we actually said human proxy. We alluded to it, which is part of the reason we referenced Locked In. Locked In kind of has an idea of human proxies built into the way this society is in the world. But I don't think we explained that. But that's kind of why we think of Locked In when we thought of your description of when Yuna, died.
Yeah. But yeah, essentially that means Yuna's being controlled by another person, assuming control. And
assuming direct control.
The person who actually performed the hacking hid their tracks, but Pritchard manages to trace the source to an abandoned factory complex. I'm removing a ton of detail when I say some of these places. We go all over the globe.
Oh, globe hopping.
Not so much here. Here it's kind of like U.S. hopping.
Okay.
We're going from Detroit to other areas. Mm-hmm. We will go to China eventually. I'll mention when we go to China. But generally, like, we're not staying in Detroit. Like, the last plant where we fought with Zeke Sanders was over in Milwaukee.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
We're in the Rust Belt. That's interesting.
Makes some sense.
I guess so. I guess you move on from cars to, like, modifying humans like cars.
Maybe. The facility is occupied by Black Ops mercenaries, and Jensen spots a number of mercenaries of the Tyrants that he recognizes from the attack that nearly killed him. Following them into the facility, Jensen discovers that it is a secret internment camp run by FEMA.
What? Whoa! I'm sorry. What? This got really dark really quick. This video game is not pulling any punches with the darkness.
Not only was this facility used as a base of operations for the hacker controlling Yuna, but it was also used 6 months previously by the Tyrants when they attacked Seraph Industries HQ. Remember when I said that evidence was covered up by the government or people within the government? Basically, it's a FEMA administrator who's... Yeah.
There's a FEMA administrator who finds the Tyrants useful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jensen intercepts the Tyrants right before they leave the facility, but two escape when he is occupied with the third. Jensen does emerge victorious and tries to further question the Merc, who implies that Seraph Industries has worse enemies than FEMA. Then he reveals a penthouse address in Hangsha, China, before trying unsuccessfully to kill Jensen, who kills him.
I was going to say, who's worse than FEMA? The Postal Service? They actually have an, investigative unit there.
Yeah. I love the idea of let me drop you information before I kill you.
No, Mr. Bond. I expect you to die.
Let me tell you information because I am so confident that I'm going to kick your butt despite the fact you've already kicked my butt.
I personally prefer, and I try to do it in my own writing, that it's revealed in a way where the enemy thinks it's either useful to reveal it or you've happened upon it when you shouldn't have. I know it's a classic. I feel like in a lot of like classic movies, because everything was still based on, performance in theater where everything was spoken. Everything is spoken in theater. Cinematic. It took a while for cinema to really understand the visual language it was going for, but yeah.
Yeah. Jensen heads back to HQ, and Pritchard informs him how the terrorists accessed the network. There was an unknown backdoor access into Seraph's security system set up almost a year before.
Unknown? Really?
Then Pritchard drops a bombshell and claims that it was David Seraph that set up this backdoor and was streaming a lot of that information through it shortly before he hired Jensen.
Interesting.
Jensen heads to question Seraph and reveals that before Jensen was hired, Seraph hired a private investigator to look into Jensen's past. The investigator uncovered Jensen's history as a baby test subject at White Helix Labs, a subsidiary of VersaLife, where the scientists were experimenting with gene modification.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Jensen was the only survivor of the experiments and was taken in by two of the scientists who had a change of heart. Basically, he's the only one who's still alive and we're going to let him keep doing experiments? No.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, they were eventually killed by the Illuminati.
Oh, of course.
Luckily, Jensen was moved to, basically hopped from them to a friend of theirs who then got him in with what essentially becomes his childhood parents.
Okay. I was going to say, the lizard people didn't adopt him?
No.
Oh, man.
Seraph will then give Jensen a passport coded with his biometrics in order to travel to China. So basically, Seraph is sneaky and dirty, but it's not...
He's not the bad guy. He just dabbles with nefarious systems.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When he arrives, Jensen discovers that the apartment complex is under lockdown by Bell Tower Associates. There's that name again.
Wait, what did we know them from before? I'm sorry.
The game that we covered in one sentence.
Oh, that's why I didn't remember it, because we covered it in only one sentence. All right.
Yeah, they were the bad guys there.
Okay.
And
with the tyrant influence as well.
Yes, and they're going to be the bad guys through a lot of this too.
Great.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to this bad guy from one sentence mention.
Bell Tower Associates have ransacked the penthouse, which belonged to an Ari Van Bruggen, the hacker that worked through Une during the second attack on Seraph. However, Van Bruggen, I think it's Van Bruggen, whatever. I don't know how to do names from...
I would assume Van Bruggen, but
it's
I'm also...
V-A-N. So is it...
I think it's Van Bruggen.
It's still Van Bruggen? Okay.
I think it's Van Bruggen.
Was warned beforehand and has gone into hiding from the people who hired and now want to kill him.
Mm.
The only lead Jensen is able to find is that Van Bruggen frequents a nightclub called Hive.
How many bees are in there? Who's the queen? How much honey?
He gets a tip from the owner, Tong Se-hung, that Van Bruggen is hiding and where to find him. Eventually, Jensen finds Van Bruggen, who admits to his involvement with the attack on Seraph Industries and that he is employed by the CEO of Taiyang Medical. Her name is Zhao.
Mm.
I may be mispronouncing that as well.
Okay.
Apologies if I am. It's Z-H-A-O. So.
Okay. I do not know.
Neither do I. So
Mandarin or Cantonese.
I did not do my due diligence and write down pronunciation cues when I watched Let's Plays and did my research. So.
Wah wah.
She has since sent bell tower guards after him because he failed to extract the entirety of the Typhoon plans from Seraph servers and is now a loose end. Van Bruggen claims that agreeing to that hacking job was the worst mistake he ever made, and then agrees to help Jensen. As insurance, in case anything went wrong, he had stored security footage that could be used against Zhao on one of Taiyang Medical's servers, but couldn't get out before things fell apart.
Uh-oh.
He tasks Jensen with finding it, giving him an employee card that will let him into the HQ.
Well, at this point, it just sounds like this is mutually assured success, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel too demanding. You guys, the Eyes Mystic was like, look, you taxed him again. And it's like, yeah, he did, but it doesn't feel that bad.
Just after this conversation, the apartment complex is stormed by bell tower troops and Jensen has to make a fast escape. Mm-hmm. That will happen a few times.
That is a great way to keep things moving, is when suddenly something happens and you're like, wait, these people came from nowhere? What?
Upon locating the server, which is... selling it short. We have to work our way up through a skyscraper from the bottom floors.
That's
up to the
server?
Yeah.
The server is a skyscraper?
No, the server is in the top part of a skyscraper. We have to work our way up and everything.
I thought you were saying there were so many server towers that essentially it was just a big heat stick in the middle of whatever town it was in.
Upon locating the server, Jensen watches the security footage and learns that the attack on Seraph Industries HQ 6 months before was actually an elaborate setup to kidnap Megan and her team. The recording also mentions that the scientists' GPL devices had been disabled and hints at an ELIZA being involved.
Interesting.
He immediately sets out to locate Zhao and demand answers, and when questioned in her penthouse, Zhao claims that she was just a pawn in the situation, that there were other more powerful people. You know the drill.
Yeah.
She eventually talks Jensen into letting his guard down and then bolts into her panic room, which sets off the alarms, calling more bell tower goons.
Wow.
Jensen escapes and begins to mull over the mention of ELIZA in the security footage as meaning Eliza Kassan, the world-famous news anchor for Picus TV.
Okay. Wait, we have news anchors that are in on this now? This conspiracy, I feel like the meme of the guy with the threads all on the board.
Honestly, yeah.
It's Always Sunny. I just can't. I can't
honestly,
keep
yes.
up with the web that they've created here. This is a lot.
It is that feel. It is cyberpunk crossed with the conspiracy theorist aspects of maybe Control. Remember Control where we had So
yes, it's just hard to keep up. I'm trying. This reminds me
the secret societies of Tex Murphy.
Yes, it reminds me of why I don't usually read actual capital M mysteries and try to solve the mystery. I don't have a fun time tracking that mystery part and seeing who's subterfuging who. I just think everybody is a little bit weird one way or another, and I like tracking the weird characters. So people be like, well, yeah, but did you notice this clue? And I'm like, this clue, but that guy, I was trying to figure out why he was snort laughing all the time.
For those who want to listen to our Tex Murphy episode,
yes.
We'll probably be back to that too. Episode 23. That also deals with secret societies and it's more campy than this, though.
It is much more campy than this in a great way.
Yeah. So Jensen heads to Picus Communications headquarters. He finds the building a ghost town. Odd for a 24-hour media company.
So I just suddenly see a tumbleweed going across the hallways. Mystic is trying to figure out in his head how that would work.
No. For some reason, my brain went to the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yeah.
When Simon and Sylphina are facing off.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, with they're just squaring off with their hands, not even doing anything yet. They're just staring each other down, and out of nowhere, a tumbleweed blows through.
Forgot about that part. I gotta watch that again. That was amazing. That movie was too good.
Yeah, it's a shame it didn't do better.
It should have done better.
Despite its emptiness, the HQ for the Picus Communications, Eliza is still in her office and has a brief conversation with Jensen. She tells him that she's been watching him ever since she was ordered to disrupt satellites over Detroit 6 months before, resulting in everyone thinking the Seraph scientists were dead as no signal was popping up from their GPL
implants. A news
implants.
anchor was asked to do a hacking job? I'm confused.
Your question will be soon answered.
Okay. All right.
Jensen, wanting more answers from her, tries to bring her with him. However, when he goes to grab her hand, he realizes that the Eliza he is speaking to is just a hologram, and she vanishes. So, it's a trap, and mercenaries enter the building during the conversation.
Okay.
At the same time, Pritchard informs them that he knows a spike in activity from Eliza's hologram had originated from an undocumented sub-basement of the building.
Okay, so they're still nearby. They're just not in the room that they were hoping to trap him in.
Jensen makes his way to said sub-basement and finds that this is where the company's more clandestine activities take place, such as intentionally fabricating news stories and taking down political figures with smear campaigns.
Wow, I never would have guessed that a big news conglomeration would ever try to do something like that.
Eventually, Jensen reaches the room where the spike in activity occurred and discovers Eliza Cassan's true form, a sophisticated artificial intelligence system.
Now, I say this because I always feel like I need to clarify these days, because I feel like the term AI gets used.
We're talking actual AI. We're not talking
Artificial
large language model. Yeah.
Yeah, no, forget. Yeah, not a large language
We're not
model.
talking our current doesn't understand what a leg is. It just knows what images of legs look like type thing.
Exactly.
We're not talking doesn't know how to write a story. It just knows a bunch of words that sound good when they put together based off of.
Wasn't it you who sent me the reel of the guy who says, "Can you give me a bowl of ramen without chopsticks?" And every picture of ramen that the AI generated had chopsticks in it.
Yeah.
Even when he would ask for the chopsticks, and there'd be 2 pairs of chopsticks.
Yeah.
And he said, "Okay, take that part out," and it would always have chopsticks in the picture.
Yeah. She explains that her role is to monitor data streams to see what people are talking about and to ensure it is being discussed in the correct way.
Oh no, we're policing people's opinions? No.
If it's not being discussed the correct way, her programming allows her to spin the news so that it is. She is unable to tell Adam who created her, but suspects that Zhao is one of them. However, one of the tyrants is preventing her from giving too much information about the Illuminati and their role in the Seraph kidnappings. Once Jensen has defeated said Merc, Eliza is able to show a small clip where Jaren Namir, that tyrant Merc who shot Adam in the head, and he's also in fact the tyrant leader, is tasking a doctor named Isaias Sandoval in disabling the Seraph scientist's GPL implants. Eliza also hints that David Seraph knows more about the motivation behind the kidnappings than he lets on.
Of course he does. We should have assumed that the whole time.
Time to head back to Detroit and follow up on all of that again.
Yay.
Problem is, We don't really get the chance.
Uh-oh.
Back in Detroit, riots have broken out over people protesting human enhancement technology. The streets are unsafe and are patrolled heavily by police, with the core of the rioting surrounding Seraph Industries HQ. Since it's not safe there, Adam meets David Seraph in his apartment. When confronted, Seraph admits that he has suspected he knew who had kidnapped Megan and her team, but wasn't sure if the elusive Illuminati were actually involved. On learning that William Taggart, an anti-augmentation activist, is currently in Detroit giving a conference, Jensen will point out that his aide, the aforementioned Dr. Sandoval, is involved in the kidnappings.
Oh.
Seraph then tasks Jensen to visit the Detroit Convention Center to try to uncover Sandoval's location, warning him to tread carefully around Taggart as it's uncertain if he's involved in the kidnappings.
Okay.
Sandoval isn't at the convention center. It's never that easy, you know?
It couldn't be that easy. He might be nearby, right? Or is he not?
Eventually, Jensen tracks Sandoval to a makeshift office in the Detroit sewers.
What? Everything's been pretty sleek and sophisticated up until this moment. I'm like, suddenly we're dealing with Nosferatu hacker?
After seeing Taggart on TV, placing the blame for the abductions and riots on his shoulders, the doctor gives up hope and decides the best course of action is to commit suicide, knowing that he will be put in jail for his involvement.
Oh, gosh.
Now, I've glossed over the choice mechanic in this game. There have been numerous points so far where Adam can talk someone out of something, talk someone into something, or change the outcome of a situation by dialogue or other actions like using tranquilizers instead of bullets, etc. Or taking an alternate path to secret objectives, stuff like that. There's tons of these branching points. They don't change a lot, but they do change things.
Okay.
You know, the general thread of the plot doesn't change, but all the people involved may change.
Right.
Like Zeke Sanders, if you talk him into turning himself into either letting him go or getting him arrested and he's not dead, he does come back.
Okay.
Not as a massively meaningful person in the plot, but he is alive and out there.
Yeah.
So
you see the consequences of your actions play out.
Yes. I did want to point out that Jensen might be able to talk Sandoval out of shooting himself. All these things require like 3 dialogue checks.
Yeah.
So Jensen learns from Sandoval that he failed to fully remove the scientist's GPL devices, so he instead changed the frequency they were transmitting to, something so low nobody would think to scan for them.
The brown note?
With this information, Pritchard can start searching for the GPL signals. Jensen returns to Seraph Industries HQ to tell his boss what's been found out. However, he is instead greeted by the billionaire Hugh Darrow, the creator of mechanical augmentation we talked about in episode 26 and a little earlier in this one.
And also the person who the Darrow...
The syndrome is named after, yeah.
The Darrow syndrome.
Darrow deficiency syndrome.
Darrow deficiency, yeah.
Darrow talks about how far the technology has developed since he created it, and that Seraph was hoping he'd encourage the United Nations not to regulate it. He also mentions his geoengineering project, Panchaea, built to curb global warming. Seraph interrupts to inform Jensen that the GPL signal of Vasily Sevchenko has been traced to Hengsha, so back to China.
Oh, wow. Okay. Back and forth, back and forth.
However, as Seraph had to call in a favor to the Department of Defense to find the signal.
Well, I wish I could call in favors to the Department of Defense. Oh, my God.
He warns Jensen that the Illuminati will probably know he's coming.
Okay.
On approach to Hengsha, the Illuminati knew he was coming. The helicopters diverted by flight control and subsequently disabled by an EMP missile fired by a bell tower operative. I should note that every time you're flown somewhere, it's by the same pilot. You kind of can get a rapport with her.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But I didn't want to throw another name at you. So
right. That's fair.
The pilot makes an emergency landing in a suburban area. Escaping from the ensuing bell tower ambush, Jensen takes an elevator to street level where he suddenly experiences a painful glitch in his augmentations.
Yikes.
Everyone else with an augmentation is similarly affected at the same moment, which is totally not suspicious at all.
No, there's no way that this isn't something that's actually meant to, hinder their progress at all.
Yeah.
Not intentional. It's just a weird fluke. We all had the same itch in our heads.
Yep. The World Health Organization then announces that the problem is a faulty biochip and issues a mass recall, advising every augmented person worldwide to visit their nearest limb clinic for a replacement.
Oh, that's also not super suspicious at all. Is this why all the people think that there's paper clips in the vaccines?
Jensen follows Savchenko's GPL signal to the Harvester hideout in Yaozhou district. Harvesters are people who, as you can guess,
Harvest?
Yeah, we want that leg. We're gonna take that leg whether you're dead or alive. Like,
yeah, I could see that being a market. Yeah.
Inside, he once again meets Tong, the owner of the hive. His bartender thing is a bit of a guise. Who am I dealing with before?
That's fair. That's fair.
He's also the leader of the Harvesters.
Yikes.
Yeah, in fact, he's wearing Savchenko's scavenged cybernetic arm.
Yikes.
Savchenko himself was already dead. His corpse had been given to the Harvesters by Bell Tower, so at least Tong's not a murderer in this case.
No, just a weird forager.
Yeah. Tong claims that he didn't know about the other 4 Seraph employees, but would tell Jensen more info if Jensen agrees to rescue Tong's son, who had been captured by Bell Tower.
Ah, gosh. There's so many people I dislike in this game right now. The morals.
Are any of them on the level of Ted Farrow?
No. Darrow, I was waiting for Darrow to really be like, make it a Darrow Farrow twosome. We're not quite there yet.
Jensen accomplishes the rescue, and in exchange for the rescue, obviously,
yeah,
broad strokes there. Tong Sr. tells Jensen to look for clues at the Bell Tower dock, which feels anticlimactic a little bit.
Oh, really?
You're fighting Bell Tower. Gee, I wonder where this is happening. Maybe it's at the Bell Tower dock.
Yeah, that's fair. You would think that they would just find you wherever you are, and then the fight happens.
Yeah. Where several ships seem to be loaded at night and dispatched to an unknown destination. At the dock, Jensen is told by Tong to pick up a parcel containing a bomb and detonate it in the shipping company's offices. Turns out the bomb has an incredibly short timer, likely so Jensen dies as well.
Oh,
Jensen escapes the blast by jumping out of a window, and in the resulting chaos, sneaks into a shipping crate and conceals himself in an empty cryopod.
They have cryopods here too?
Yep.
This is a crazy future we've got.
Now we're going to jam a DLC into here.
Oh, what?
Yeah. In the original game, you would just wake up in the cryopod later, but they jammed a DLC into that couple days.
And what are you doing in a couple days in a DLC?
Jensen is eventually found hiding aboard and takes out the multiple Bell Tower troopers before he is subdued and put into an EMP chair and brutally interrogated by Peter Burke. I don't think it's Peter. Pieter. Pieter?
Yeah, you're supposed to pronounce it differently, but it's a version of Peter, yeah.
And Natanya Keitner. K-E-I-T... Keitner, right? Keitner?
You should not be asking me this.
I have no idea. Unexpectedly, the chair is deactivated, allowing Jensen to escape. Jensen is soon contacted by a mysterious hacker, advising him to get out of the ship and meet with a contact, and the contact turns out to be Natanya.
Oh, good. Convenient for us.
Yeah. Keitner assisted in Jensen's escape, as it seemed to her that he's the best chance to get someone to find proof that Bell Tower is associated with something illegal. I think that would be very easy information to find, but...
Yeah. Right, it should be.
Pick up a receipt from the floor in their headquarters, you're probably going to find something illegal on it.
Dude, these guys are doing illegal things just by going to McDonald's.
Eventually, with assistance from Keitner and a Bell Tower engineer, Garvin Quinn, Jensen accesses the seafloor laboratories from the prison wing to find out that the prisoners are turned into parts of an organic computational matrix.
Oh my!
I forgot to mention it's a prison. It's a prison complex that he wakes up in.
Oh great! That's exactly where I want to wake up.
Yeah, but organic computational matrix, basically using the test subjects as part of a supercomputer, and they almost always die as a result of this experimentation.
This feels like the cyberpunk version of Dead Cell right now.
The whole thing started as a DARPA thing.
Oh.
Wanting a computer with super awareness and everything, but they rejected the use as too extreme, like using people as computer parts. And the Illuminati decided they liked the idea of a supercomputer regardless of the morality of it.
Of course, they're all about power. They're all about acquiring and centralizing power.
Yes. Jensen urges one of the scientists to get the incriminating evidence on Bell Tower and to escape. As Jensen gets back to the station, Keitner informs him that Burke has found out what they have been doing. Eventually, Adams finds Keitner fatally wounded. She had ordered the submersible for the rogue scientist before Burke, who is loyal to Bell Tower, locked down the station and started to fill the prisons and the laboratory with toxic gas, which will kill everyone.
And the computer. Oh my gosh. Talk about debugging.
The lockdown is eventually...
took you a minute.
Yeah, the lockdown is eventually lifted, and Jensen takes out Burke and his goons. The mysterious hacker contacts Adam again and tells him another ship has been found that will take him directly to Megan Reed's location.
How convenient. We totally forgot she's existed through half of the story.
Upon reaching the dock, it is revealed that Jensen's mysterious contact is actually Gavin Quinn, who explains that he hired Keitner under the guise of an Interpol agent, and then he's been withholding the truth from both Jensen and Keitner.
How many people are withholding the truth?
Yes.
I have been lied to so many times. This is an emotional roller coaster that I would like to get off of.
Basically, he's using them both as pawns against Bell Tower and, by extension, the Illuminati.
He's playing 3D chess. Good for him.
Yeah. Quinn then places Jensen back in cryosleep so we can wake up after the DLC like we did before.
Right. Right. Yeah, we got to reset. Yeah, exactly.
Which is funny. Essentially, that doesn't happen, but it does. So
it doesn't happen, and then you wake up, and then you're suddenly where the plot's going to end, right?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Well, I could see why they needed a DLC.
Several days later, Jensen awakens and emerges from the cryopod in an unknown location. Upon reestablishing contact with Pritchard, apparently long-distance comms are not affected, Jensen discovers he is now at the Omega Ranch, a biotech lab facility in Singapore.
Oh, interesting.
On Pritchard's instructions, Jensen disables a nearby signal jammer, allowing location of the GPLs of remaining scientists. Jensen speaks to each scientist inside the ranch facility and recruits them into an escape plan that entails infecting the ranch computers with a virus that Savchenko created before his death, and then staging 3 simultaneous serious incidents in the laboratories.
Wow.
The virus would prevent the scientists' GPL signals from being tracked while they escape, and then Jensen proceeds to the secure wing of the facility to locate Megan Reed, but crosses paths with Zhao and our tyrant friend Namir once again.
Oh, no.
He confronts Zhao about the forced biochip upgrades being another ploy by the Illuminati, a kill switch intended to limit the abilities of augmented people so they could be controlled like Yune was back at the beginning of all of this.
Right, exactly.
Zhao tries to use the kill switch to incapacitate Jensen, but Jensen is nevertheless able to defeat Namir in combat as Zhao escapes. Jensen discovers Megan Reed alive in a security suite. She says that Darrow knew what the Illuminati were planning and had tasked her with making modifications to the biochip before mass production began, which would prevent the chips from being used as a kill switch. Immediately after this conversation, however, a broadcast reveals Darrow's true intention. He has altered the kill switch's kill switch she designed to enable him to project terrible hallucinations into the minds of augmented people.
Whoa. So I've altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it further.
Pretty much. This event would later become known as the Aug Incident.
That is such a simplification for what actually has happened there. That is not doing justice to the terror that is being, forced upon all these people.
No, I agree. But this is a world where the secret societies control the media. So
the Aug Incident. Oh my
also,
gosh.
they lack imagination.
Yes.
Megan urges Jensen to try and shut down the signal. Jensen agrees, obviously.
Of course. He's like, I would like to not have nightmares. This would be great.
Everyone escapes save for Jensen, who takes Darrow's suborbital shuttle to Panchaea.
Oh. He's got to settle the score.
Yeah, and we're talking like a massive compound under the Arctic Ocean, built entirely by Augs.
Oh, how much frostbite happened?
Well, one thing, it's built entirely and staffed entirely by Augs, and what just happened?
A bunch of... Oh no, Mystic. Mystic, no.
Most people at Panchaea have either been driven insane by the signal or been killed by those who have been driven insane.
No, this is awful. This is like, what was it? Oh, what was that movie that had Colin Firth in it? Never mind. Don't worry about it. I'm
Kingsman.
The Kingsman. Yeah. This is exactly what this is.
Jensen makes his way to the control room and confronts Darrow. Darrow insists that humanity has taken his gift of augmentation technology and twisted it and altered the biochip signal as a way of showing that the technology is dangerous and that mankind needs to evolve without it. Darrow urges Jensen to allow his message to the world to expose the Illuminati and everything that has happened.
Expose them to terror nightmares? Like, I'm sorry, what?
After hearing Darrow's arguments, Jensen descends the lowest levels of the facility to shut down the signal, driving the Augs insane. At the very bottom of the facility, Jensen finds the Hyron core. This is the organic computation matrix we talked about before, basically. Like,
wait, is this the one with all the bunch of people are hooked up to be a computer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, what we found before was kind of some experimental aspects of it, but not.
Okay. This is a higher level of it?
Either it was a second one or it was just finding the paperwork on it. I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
The debate between data and lore in Star Trek, which one was first?
Zhao appears and connects herself to the system, intent on altering Darrow's signal for the Illuminati's benefit. However, the system rejects her biochip.
Oh.
In an attempt to gain control, Zhao activates the core's defenses, turning them on Jensen, because we need a boss fight.
We definitely need a boss fight now.
Jensen is forced to destroy the human drones and kill Zhao. Basically, everyone who's in the computer has to die. With Zhao gone, Jensen accesses the broadcast control room. Here, Jensen is contacted by Eliza Kassan, who gives him the option of sending Darrow's recorded confession, warning the public of the potential danger of transhuman augmentations.
Because even Darrow is essentially proving the point that he was trying to counter.
He also has the option of editing the message according to Seraph's suggestion so as to blame the Humanity Front for their collaboration in producing the biochip and denounce the anti-augmentation movement to the public. Or editing it according to Taggart's suggestion so as to blame the chaos on contaminated neuropazine from VersaLife, erasing any information about the Illuminati and urging the public to demand regulation on augmentation research. Or the option of destroying Panchaea by turning off its water pressure control system, killing everyone on the base, and destroying all information and leaving the public unaware of any truth.
Whoa.
All these endings are canonical, weirdly,
Somehow?
according to the developers for the second game.
I don't know how you do that, but okay.
I didn't research into it because we weren't doing the second game, but it feels weird.
Yeah, that does feel a little weird.
Anyway, due to the damage sustained as a result of the AUG incident, Panchaea is destroyed, regardless of what signal you send.
Okay.
Jensen is plunged into the Arctic Ocean with only his Sentinel RX health system to keep him alive.
Oh, wow.
The end.
Well, that's a downer. He doesn't even get a party? They don't even have margaritas on the boat? Like Alpha Protocol? Wait, was it not Alpha Protocol?
Just Cause?
Just Cause.
This is not that type of game.
Gosh, if only it was. I'd
Also,
feel
that's
better.
from the novel. That's what happens to him according to the novel.
Oh, interesting.
We could touch on eventually.
Okay.
It's Jensen and Pritchard, everyone's favorite tag team.
You say that with such enthusiasm.
I don't like Pritchard. I mean, he's not... He's just abrasive.
Yeah. He sounds like milquetoast snarky guy.
A little bit, yeah.
Wow, I did not keep up with half of that. Just gonna be upfront. You just started saying so many things, and my brain just started going, you don't need to remember any of this. I was like,
it was a lot.
I don't.
It is a lot.
It's a lot. There's like 6 different actors that you're trying to figure out what they're doing, but 6 of them are actually like actually 3 of them. They're one and the same, but 2 different fronts.
No one's
Not
being
really.
honest.
Yeah, nobody's being honest.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. It just feels like, okay, we took all this paint and we threw it on the board, and we're gonna see how it all overlaps.
We forgot that one NPC that everyone absolutely thinks is the worst NPC ever, though.
The one that's a walking stereotype?
Yes.
Yeah, let's not mention her ever again. So bad. When was this game published again?
2011.
Yeah, no excuse. There's no excuse for that then. You're just being You're just doing a prejudice. That's all you're doing.
So we'll be playing this, which means that Safi will start playing it, and it may just switch to me.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. That's probably what's going to happen. It's happened the last time we did Deus Ex. It'll probably happen again. I hope you guys don't mind that. And if you would just like to see somebody who can play something well, then that's the alternate Thursdays Mass Effect for you. What were you going to say, Mystic?
I was going to say, Adam Jensen's like genetic code is what's used for the protagonists in the, not in the sequel, because he's the protagonist in the sequel, but the ones that take place like 25 years plus later.
Oh.
They're kind of like based off of his genetic code, so it's kind of like that's how they tie it together.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's weird.
It's very, I mean, like, they do a lot of really weird sci-fi stuff, though, so they can get away with it.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm going to get away with not knowing half of anything we talked about. Hopefully you guys retained something, because I feel like that was
and we did broad strokes, and in the effort to kind of boil it down, I may have actually dropped something that was important, but I don't think I did.
I don't think you removed anything of context that would help me understand the story better. I didn't feel like there was any information missing. I think it was the opposite. There was so much information going on that my brain just kind of glazed over.
There's 1,000 different points in the story. There's 1,000 threads to follow. We could have done 2 episodes on this if we want to take it slow.
Yeah, this reminds me of
but people don't tend to like when we do 2-parters.
They don't?
Not really. It depends on the game.
Okay, I was going to say, because I'm very proud of my Nuka-Cola 2-parter. I'm just saying. I thought it was gold. But regardless, thanks so much for joining us for this episode, where there is not a 2-parter.
We have one coming up maybe soon, though. So.
Oh, interesting. Okay, interesting segue there, Mr.
Look, one of the episodes I was doing had 18 pages of notes almost. So.
Wow, that's a 2-parter.
Yeah.
That's a 2-parter. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Don't forget that the Saturday after this is open to the public, we are doing the live stream of the first hour. The Thursday following, which means, once again, I will only play part of it, probably. All right.
You'll probably get through the opening mission.
You know what? That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Thank you guys for listening.
Thanks for listening. Catch you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.